Hi folks, Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Coming with a blog post I want to share with you, of course, review the latest in social media and technology. This is one of our phone versus comparisons. Be sure to subscribe to the ChrisVossShow.com and our YouTube channel so you can get all the latest and greatest updates as they come out. This is going to be a comparison, of course, between the AT&T.com HTC One X and the HTC 8X, which is for Windows OS based. It's from t-mobile.com. That's t-mobile.com. And we're going to be comparing both these phones. Of course, we have all the major phone companies sending us phones to review, so be sure to subscribe again. On the HTC One X, it's been around for a while. It runs on the Android software. The HTC 8X has the new Windows OS, Windows 8 on it. Let's compare the differences between the phones. The height on the One X is 5.31 in height, 2.75 in width, and 0.35 inches in thickness. On the 8X, we're looking at a 5.21 in height, 2.61 in width, and a 0.40 in inches. On the weight for the HTC One X, we're looking at a weight of 4.55 ounces and 4.59 ounces on the 8X. On the display screen, we're looking at 4.70 inches on the One X and 720 by 1280 pixels, 312 ppi, a LCD2 screen with 16.7 million pixels. Or colors, I should say, actually, not pixels. On the display size on the 8X, we're looking at 4.3 inch screen, 720 by 1280 pixels, 342 ppi, which is a massive amount of ppi. Same technology in SLCD2 with 16.7 million colors. On the One X, you're looking at 8.5 hours of talk time, 12.6 days on standby time, and 1800 milliamp battery. On the HTC One X, or I'm sorry, 8X, excuse me, you're looking at 11.3 hours talk time, 12.1 days, and an 1800 milliamp battery. On the One X, you're looking at Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 Plus dual-core 1.5 gigahertz crowd with 1 gigabytes of RAM and 16 gigabytes of storage. On the 8X, you're looking at Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 Plus dual-core 1.5 gigahertz crowd, 1 gigabytes of RAM and 16 gigabytes of storage. On the HTC One X, you're looking at 8 megapixels on the back camera, 1080p HD, of course, on the back camera, and 1.3 megapixels on the front-facing camera. For the 8X, we're looking at 8 megapixels on the back, the 1080p HD out the back of it, 30 frames per second, and you also have video calling, and also it has 2 megapixels of front-facing camera power unto it. So you've got that there. Both have NFC chip technology and are great phones. And as you can see here, they're pretty comparable in size. They both have really good screens to them and everything else. Now, the AT&T One X is running on, as we said, 4.04 Android software. It's the very latest available to it at this point in time. The HTC 8X is running on the Windows 8. So this really comes down to the price point on the phones is what you believe them to be, and is fitting into your budget, and of course also the OS that you may want to take and use. On one hand, the Android product has much more apps to it and a much broader range of products on the App Store for it. Windows is slowly catching up, bringing their App Store up to par. There's still a lot missing that I'd like to see on their Windows App Store. But we find that many Windows buyers that love the mobile app like the phones themselves. They like the Metro tiles, the live tiles, and everything that are on it. They like to set up the speed of the device and everything else. Many people like the Android product because the Android OS is very customizable. You can do different folders. You can set up different screens, live wallpapers if you so choose. You can add widgets, of course, to the screens, and you can do all sorts of interesting things. It's got a great notification drop-down menu to give you notification of all your latest things, etc., etc. On the 8X Windows product, you see these live tiles that they have. It used to be called Metro tiles. I think Windows wants to call them something else now. You can, of course, arrange the size of each of the squares and tiles that are on here. You can make them small like this, or you can make them big, and you can adjust them. There's some customizable thing there. One thing that they have is they have a list menu of all of your apps, so you can find them and everything else. The screen is incredibly beautiful, as is the One X, and that definitely gives it a definite draw. So let's look at some differences in the body and design of the devices. On the One X, you've got your speaker across the top for your calls, front-facing camera, and it's got a plastic body, much like the HTC X has. On the bottom, you've got your buttons of a back button, a home button, and recent apps button. It also has been changed to a menu button, where you can choose between changing it to a menu button with the recent update of the OS for Windows or Android 4.04. On the HTC 8X, you've got your front-facing camera up here. You've got your speaker for making calls, or hearing calls, I should say. You've got your back button, your home button, and a search button. Taking a look at the back of both devices, we'll flip them around here. You can see kind of little similar backs and just kind of the look of where everything is. You've got your SIM card tray up here at the top. You've got your rear-facing camera and your flash lamp that's there, the HTC logo, and you've got a speaker down here at the bottom, and you've got some sync ports here. Now, there's supposed to be some cradles that HTC has made that you can easily sync this into, and these sync ports make it so that you don't necessarily have to plug it in, although it does have a plug-in charger port. It does have Beats Audio, as both devices have Beats Audio on them. HTC owns an interest in Beats Audio, and so therefore it's a great equalizer enhancement to the sound quality of your music when you plug in an earphone jack into the or an earphone plug into the earphone jack. It automatically activates the Beats Audio enhancement sounds, and so you can really enjoy them from that basis there. So yeah, they're both great phones with their setup and everything else they have there. You can see there's a small speaker over here on the HTC 8X. We have the camera lens, the flash lamp, and of course the HTC logos there, if you will. There's a small area we'll show you here where they have the SIM card sliding slot when we look at the sides of the devices. So let's take and do that now. We'll go ahead and move these aside. And on the HTC One X, you can see here, of course, that there's a power button. You can also see there's the area for the SIM card. We have a small microphone hole right here. We have the earphone jack. We have the sync charger plug here on the side. You can see that it's got this curved beveled edge, which is kind of cool and it fits ergonomically well in the hand. There's a small microphone hole on the bottom. On the right side, we have the rocker volume up and volume down rocker button, if you will. On the right side of the HTC 8X, we have the camera shutter button. You can use this for video and for camera, taking pictures. You also have the volume rocker button that's there. Along the, and as we mentioned, there's a SIM card area right here for putting your SIM card in. On the top, we have a power button right here, and the microphone button and the earphone jack. Not a real big fan of this power button on this device. It's very small. It sits at the top. I have very big fingers, and I tend to have trouble pressing it and then holding it and turning it on and off. You may not have that problem if you have smaller fingers. It's up to you, but definitely have struggled with it. But it works. It's just what happens is you end up pressing more on the body than you do on the button, and therefore the button doesn't activate. Down the left-hand side, there's nothing really to see there. And on the bottom, of course, we have a microphone hole and a charging sync port that you can see there. So, very interesting in the design. Both fit very well in the hand ergonomically. They are very comfortable. They're very thin, very light phones when it comes down to it, and very enjoyable to use from that aspect. Let's look at the cameras. Okay, so now I'm taking a look at the HTC One X. Everything's pretty much similar, everything in its operation, how it operates, not much changes here. There evidently was some small improvements to the camera that you won't notice on the back end that was found in the 4.04 update. Once again, really great pictures that I love with the X. The pictures do seem to be better, but maybe it's because I'm seeing them through a bigger screen. It's not much, it's very slight, but you can see here once again, lots of yellows, lots of greens, but it takes great photos and it brings out the brightness very well. Let's take a look at video. Video, once again, I'm pretty sure these probably have the same internal build of camera. They both take really great video shots. You almost can't really notice the difference other than the fact that one screen is bigger than the other. Here's a low light shot. Of course, you can see here the colors pop. This is completely dark. It brought everything out and did very well in a shoot. Same thing with a low light video situation here. Performed very well at getting this stuff done. Okay, so now camera-wise, it has a pretty good camera on it with the HTC. The Carl Zeiss stuff, I guess they make great cameras somewhere in the world, but I've not really been impressed or even know why anyone's using them for these Nokia and HTC cameras for Windows. I've really been unimpressed by them. Okay, so the camera that's on the HTC is it's pretty good. It does a good job. It does a good job with video in well-lit situations. It does a good job with photos in well-lit situations. In the dark with flash, not as impressed with it. And same thing with video. In fact, I'm kind of disappointed on the video in dark environments. But hey, you mostly shoot in well-lit environments, so that's what's important. So let's take a look at some of the menus here. We've got a button, of course, that will take us to the portfolio area. You almost kind of have to really hit and miss, learn the hard way with some of these buttons. But for the most part, you can switch between your camera and your camcorder eye here. You've got different things you can put in. You've got your flash, you've got your front and back camera, you've got some menu items, I believe, right here. I've really struggled with the to just master the basics on this camera. If you press the wrong button, you go into completely different areas, and it's taken me a while to really get it down. It's just not very intuitive, and that's important in products. So you can switch between photo and video. One of the problems is if you push the wrong button, it will take a picture, it will activate the video. You also have your camera button push here. Obviously, if you're buying one of these, you're probably not buying it for the camera, but it will do a good camera job. It's a good little phone, but definitely, if camera's important to you, you may want to look at a higher quality camera phone. So you can kind of see basics of what you can do. You can adjust everything, of course. Here's some dark video that we're really not impressed with. This is shot in the blackness of a room, and it really had problems. We had to take a couple times just to get it to focus. The problem is you press the screen to try and get a focus, like you can with other cameras, it just stops the video, which is really irritating. It really had a hard time. You can see here we've got a well-lit, of course, outside photo shot that we've taken and doing with video, and it comes out pretty good for the colors. Comes out pretty good, not too bad. Dealt pretty well with the sun blasting into it, so it did okay. I mean, I'd say it's a good camera, an okay, good cameras, somewhere in there. So let's take a look at some other things that we have. Here's some shots outside. Good shots. Okay, nothing spectacular to write home to mom about, but definitely the shots are clean. They look good. They're well shot. It's definitely an 8-megapixel camera, so you've got that, and you're going to get good shots. Are you going to get great shots that maybe you might be used to with some more expensive cameras? No, but then you have to spend a whole lot more money. You can just see some of the shots that we took here. Now, this one shot was completely in the dark shot, where we totally in a dark environment, and the flash had to find itself. Not really impressed at how much it picked up in the image or the quality of the color. But like I said, it's a good little phone. I just probably wouldn't buy it for the camera. Okay, so all in all, we like both phones. You can get the AT&T HTC One X from AT&T.com. You can check out their website, and of course, you can see all the other wonderful phones we reviewed if you search the ChrisVossShow.com or YouTube. For the HTC 8X, you can go to t-mobile.com. It's t-mobile.com. Be sure to tell both companies Chris Voss sent you. Chris Voss tested, Chris Voss approved. We love both phones, and you decide which one works best for you. Thanks for coming by the ChrisVossShow.com. Be sure to check by often.